Welcome once again to our morning meditation. I am the Reverend Dr. William L. Johnson III. So happy to be able to share this message with you. I've been down under the weather for the past week, but I'm so glad to be back with you to share a message that I hope that will encourage you and inspire you along the way. I am excited about this message. I love taking time to share these messages with you because I hope that they will indeed do that all that I hope that they will by giving you strength through the week, helping you get through life, getting over the humps and the challenges of your life, and then hopefully helping you be able to pass it along to someone else. Well, here's the morning meditation without being long-winded. I want to share this message. I'm a little foggy in the head, but I want to get this message out for you. Today's message is entitled Trusting Our Hearts. Trusting Our Hearts. I am a fan of classic movies, Turner Classic Movies, all kinds of classic movies that are often housed in these stations that keep them. Unfortunately, we don't see enough of them because they teach us so many wonderful lessons, not only about the storyline, but about history, where we've come from, where we've been, how film was made even then. Well, one of my favorites happens to be a wonderful movie that comes up to mind because I'm a St. Louis Blues. And it is an interesting story, in fact. It is a story of a young man who, a true story, really, in fact, made after a true story, about a young man who has this desire and love for music. He can't help it. It's in his bones. W.C. Handy was an amazing individual who had the ability to do so many things with music. However, his background is he's the son of a Methodist minister. And as strict and as orderly as his father had been in guiding him, he did not believe in the music that W.C. Handy wanted to play. And so, as a young child, he was shunned from playing that music, a music that spoke to the heritage of his people, a music that spoke to rhythm and blues and jazz, all the things that we've come to appreciate in our culture now. Without W.C. Handy, we may not have been able to enjoy those things. He is one of the early fathers of blues as we know it in America. And what we discover here in this story is that he is struggling with whether or not to choose to follow his heart or whether to follow the guidance of those he loves who have his best interest at heart, his father. And so that he struggles his entire life. In fact, the story goes on to talk about how W.C. Handy found himself playing music, but then being stricken blind, and then having all the hangups in faith and religion, and then coming back from that blindness to play more music, and then only to kind of drift away again and to go blind again. It is this ongoing struggle with whether or not we trust our hearts or whether we trust our heads, whether we lean into those things that are closest to who we are and that make us feel like we are offering something to the world in the contribution for our being on this planet, or that in which others may feel and deem that is important for us to get a good job, do the things that are important, be a good citizen, follow and toe the line. All those things are there. But I want to encourage you that trusting your heart is not a bad thing. Because what you discover is, and many people discover, that in life, if you don't trust your heart, you will live fraudulently in the world. Your heart is the heartbeat, the idea of who you are in the world. It is your signature in the world. And so that many of us are finding ourselves in careers or in family situations or in circumstances that are not of our choosing, but is something that we just learn how to settle with and to deal with. I understand it. But what I want to say to you, sometimes we have responsibilities that lead us to places where we can't do the things that we would have loved to do, or imagine the things we have, and follow the things that we imagined that we wanted to do in life. But what I want to caution you on is don't give up on your heart. Your heart in everything that you do, because otherwise you'll not feel gratified or satisfied with the life you're living. There's nothing better than that lean into life in all that you do with your heart in it. Yeah, I want to encourage you to do it this week. Find something that you really love and lean into it. Think about it and take a moment. Even if it doesn't seem like you have an ability to reach it, write it down in your journal. Dream about it, if you will, but it is your heart that drives you. So let me get to a passage of scripture so I'll share it with you. One of the passages of scripture that I really love comes from the 6th chapter of the Gospel of Mark, somewhere around the 21st verse, from 19 to 21, 22. And it says something about this. Listen, be careful of whatever you do in your heart. Uh, Allow for your heart to drive you. But wherever your treasure is, there your heart will be also. In other words, whatever you value, whatever is really important to you, your heart will follow and lean to that. And so if you're at work and if you're doing your job and it's not really important to you, your heart will not follow. If you're with your family and your heart is not there, it will be known and evident to all who come in contact with you. If you find yourself a writer or whatever it is that you do, if you work in healthcare or you're teaching children or you're preaching the gospel, if your heart isn't in it, then you probably ought to leave it alone until you find your heart. Well, what happens if my heart has been broken? What happens if my heart has been blemished or bruised? What happens if I've had to hide my heart? Or what happens if I'm like the Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz and it's empty and nothing's on the inside? Well, I advise you to go back to find out where your heart is. Look for it. It's there, calling out to you, asking you if you're okay. Yeah, these moments in our lives, more than anything in the world right now, is a very crucial and important part in your life. I can't explain to you how important it is for you to live with your heart and not just with your head or not with what other people think you should, but live with your heart invested because it's the one life you're given. What are you going to do with this life? You have to live it with your heart. Because I guarantee you, if you don't, you'll never be satisfied. If you do, your heart may be broken. Yes, it may get bruised, but at least you're living your best life fully alive in what you have because you decided to show up for the life you're living and not be a voyeur, watching your own life as if you were watching it on the silver screen. This is your life. Embrace it, enjoy it, love it. I don't know who this message is for, but I wanted to encourage you today. Live your full life with your heart in it. Trust your heart. It's okay. Some people say you ought not trust your heart. It's deceptive. It does things. I disagree. I think our heads get us in trouble. And if you want to just live a safe life and just figure out how to make it through, I understand. If that's where your heart is, that works. But for others, if you're not doing what your heart calls you to do, try to find a way, make a plan so that you can get back to the very central part of where your heart is. Maybe you lost it along the way. Maybe someone has stolen it and locked it away. Maybe it's been broken and needs to be healed. But whatever is happening, don't betray your heart because it will never betray you. Trust your heart. It gives you guidance and will stay with you through the roughest of times. It's resilient, believe it or not, because it keeps on pumping and keeps on moving and keeps on guiding you because it is the center of your being. Enjoy the day. Thank you so much for allowing us to share this message with you. These morning meditations are designed to inspire and encourage you along the way. Why? Because we believe that you are loved. You are certainly so important, and it is imperative that you keep on doing what you do. You're loved, you're cherished, you're appreciated, and you are irreplaceable. Thanks again. Have a great one. Have a great day. Have a great week and certainly have a great, wonderful life. Enjoy. Bye-bye.